what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show, Life Off the Links. I'm your host, Kevin Motznick, and today we have an awesome guest. We have a real treat for you, a PGA Tour pro on the tour as we speak. Sam Stevens is with us. Sam, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm over in Japan right now, so just waking up, but happy to be here.
Yeah, well, we're grateful for you waking up early morning. Literally, Sam is 14 hours ahead of where I am currently time-wise. So early morning for you and willing to get up and be on the show is we're really grateful. So Sam, super excited for to get to hear your story and for folks watching and listening to hear your story as well. Our heart behind the show is to just get to hear what your life off the links is like and kind of what has shaped you to become who you are today. And so before we kind of dive in, I always love to start things off with a little fast facts about your story, your career, kind of the little bullet point highlights. So for you, fast facts, Sam Stevens, I've got you were born in Fort Worth, Texas. You played collegiate golf at Oklahoma State. Go Cowboys. National
Sure.
championship team won national championship in 2018 with the Oklahoma State golf team, and then turned pro that same year, 2018. Officially joined the PGA Tour in 2023. And since then already, you've had 6 top 10s, 3 top 5s, and a runner-up on the PGA Tour in a very short span. So that's pretty cool. Excited to talk about that. But more importantly than all of that, married to your lovely wife, Kelsey, and you guys have 3 young boys at home. So we'll dive into all that. But as I just spit that off, in a short career, you've already experienced and accomplished so much. What are just some initial reflections on that?
Yeah, I feel pretty lucky to have the little bit of success that I have had the first couple of years out here. Um, you mentioned I played at Oklahoma State and always felt like I was a pretty good player. There's a lot of good players at Oklahoma State, so kind of struggled to see the lineup there. Um, when I would play well, I had to get to travel. When I didn't play well, I would be sitting at home. So uh, the journey to the PGA Tour wasn't exactly, as smooth as I thought it would be. But I just kept working hard and uh, definitely, like I said, just feel blessed that I've been able to make it this far, and hopefully I can just keep working hard like I always have and keep getting better. And we'll see where that takes me in my golfing career.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great start so far. I'm sure you have a lot of success ahead of you. And now we will obviously talk a lot about the game and your career and things you've accomplished, things that you want to accomplish. But also, what I love about our show and what we do is peeling back the curtain into the lives of you all that are going after this thing that a lot of us golf fans and average everyday golfers just admire and aspire. That it would be great to be able to have the skills you guys have, but there's a lot to it, and so it's fun to peel back the curtain a little bit. And so would love to hear, just kind of starting out, what was life like for you kind of growing up? And as you were a kid, like what was your family life like? What was the town you grew up in like? What were those early days like for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in Fort Worth. My dad played golf he started at Oklahoma, but he ended up finishing it at TCU still. Um, he met my mom at OU, and they got married and moved down to Fort Worth. And I grew up there. I have one older sister. She was a tennis player, so she was always at the tennis course with my mom, and I was a golfer, so I was always at the course with my dad. And yeah, I've got a great family. My parents they poured into us, even way more, just kind of off the course or outside of athletics. They just were, they put a lot of time into it. Now that I'm a parent, I kind of realized that how crazy it is, how much work it takes. Um, but I'm super grateful for them. And uh, I think we moved up to Wichita, Kansas when I was 11, and my dad's whole family is from up there. So just kind of family's always been a huge part of my life, and along with that, just kind of my faith. And my parents were um, crazy, just impressing into us kind of the values of Christianity from a very young age. And man, again, yeah, and you're a parent too, so you kind of see this side of it, but it's just, uh, but it's really lucky, and the amount of work and the amount of effort and the amount of just love that you have to have for someone to do a good job parenting is
Yeah.
it's hard to do. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, so that's kind of I've always said that like my dad is kind of my hero, and if I could be more like him, I'd feel like I'd be doing a pretty good job in life. But
Wow.
yeah, he's set a great example for me and my mom as well. So just
Yeah.
really, really happy, really blessed to have them.
That's awesome. What a gift.
Yeah.
To have a family that's one supportive and but two just that you guys feel so close and connected and gave such a great support system for you growing up. So as you're getting growing up in how old did you say your sister was or in relation to you?
She's 2 years old.
Okay, so you guys are pretty close. You guys are getting to hang out as you're growing up together. Um, what was that move like for you? 11 years old. That's like a tough season of life. What, seventh grade ish?
Yeah.
To try to navigate like changing your whole support system with friends and your routine with school. And so what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so for me, it wasn't too bad. I was always fairly social, and I had a lot of friends that, kind of ended up losing contact with, but have reconnected over the years, and it's kind of been a blessing just to have friends in both places in Kansas and Texas. So definitely a little harder for my sister. She was going into her freshman year of high school, and she
Yeah.
wasn't quite as social as I was, so it's kind of lucky that it wasn't too hard for me. And a lot of, you know how it is with golf. You can spend all day at the course. And thankfully for me, the course I was playing at when we moved to Wichita, a couple of kids that went to the same school as me were also super into golf. They both ended up playing Division 1, and so it was like right away I had two great friends that I could spend all day with. And and it was kind of the same when I was growing up, even at an early age in Fort Worth. All my friends have always been kind of golfers because that's just where I spent most of my time. So, um, moving to Wichita, I was kind of disappointed at first. I thought the weather would be way worse than it was. I was like, how am I going to get to play golf all year? But it was honestly so glad that we moved there, and now raising a family there. It's just an awesome place to live. And Fort Worth is great. Texas is awesome, but I'm glad to I kind of claim Texas and Kansas, but I'm glad to be at Kansas.
That's cool. I love that. So you kind of maybe alluded to it already a little bit, but what's kind of well, tell us a little bit about did you play other sports growing up? Was golf like always because your dad, he said your dad played a lot, which we'll get into that as well. But was golf always the sport, or did you have some other things that you did as well? And when did kind of golf become like, okay, I want to really focus on this?
So golf was definitely always like the main thing. I played everything though, literally every sport other than like hockey or something. I don't know. I didn't. I played everything. My dad was always my coach, whether it's basketball, baseball, football. He was always kind of the guy there. But he was always wanting to work on his golf game. So if I had, soccer practice at 6 o'clock, he'd pick me up at school. When I was in second grade, we'd go to the golf course for 3 hours and then we'd go to soccer practice. And so I'd say I played pretty much every sport until I moved to Wichita, and then played basketball and football seventh and eighth grade, along with golf. And then once I got to high school, I just was not tall enough, not athletic enough to play anything other than golf.
Yeah.
I tried to play a little basketball, but I realized that that wasn't gonna that wasn't gonna uh, do much for me.
Yeah.
I still played recreationally, like Y League and stuff through high school. That was fun, but uh, yeah, I'd say never in my mind did I really want to play anything other than golf,
Mm.
past uh, high school, but always enjoyed playing all the sports. Now that I've got three little boys, it's so much fun to throw the ball around with them, or go shoot hoops or whatever it is. It's, yeah, it's
Yeah. So how
hopefully they're more athletic than I
I think you're doing okay for yourself. I think we're all right. How old are your boys?
We've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Okay. Wow. Dude, I'm almost the exact. I have a 5-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old son, and a 3-month-old son. So
Yeah,
I understand
yeah.
one, I
Well,
understand what you're going through at home, and two, well, we're going to talk about this later in the show in more detail. But just the challenges that I'm sure you have to deal with on caring for your family and really being there for your boys. So we'll chat about that. I'm really fascinated to hear more. But kind of sticking with your kind of coming, you're growing up. Um, what was so? Let me, a little fun fact. You talk about your dad playing. I think that's a little bit of an understatement. If I'm correct, you're kind of a third generation professional golfer. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah. So my granddad played the PGA Tour for a couple of years, and then my dad was a good college player, and he played briefly professionally, and then decided that he wanted to have a family,
Yeah.
and so he quit the golf pretty quick after school. But yeah, yeah, technically third
Hey,
generation.
there's not many that can claim that they were a pro golfer, no matter how long it was. He is a pro
Yeah,
golfer. So so did you ever feel a sense of pressure from that, or was it really, what was that like, knowing that okay, my grandpa, my dad were both pro golfers. I'm good at this game, but did you ever feel pressure to like make it past college golf and beyond?
honestly, I really didn't. And I think that was kind of a testament to my dad as well. He pushed me extremely hard, and definitely, told me if you're going to do something, you're gonna put all your effort into it. You're going to do it right. Um, but I never felt like if I don't if I don't live up to it, or if I don't perform as well, that they're going to be disappointed in me. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think again that's kind of a balancing act as a parent, right? Um, I definitely started to feel more pressure like in college, not necessarily from my dad. My grandpa was a All-American in college. My dad was an All-American, and then I was like struggling to make the line up. I used to, when I was real young, I had my dad's All-American plaque, and I hung it above my bed because it was like the coolest thing ever. And so I was like, golly, I got to be an All-American, and ended up not being an All-American, which is fine. But that was never anything that like my dad pushed on me or anything, and I think that he didn't really care as long as I was giving it, everything I had, having a good attitude, glorifying God, and everything that I was doing was kind of his big thing. So uh, again, yeah, if I felt any pressure, it was put on by myself, and just again, like I said, it's kind of can't explain how thankful I am, and you really can't comprehend how lucky I am to have the people around me that I did.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, what can because I wrote down, wanting to touch on that balancing act that you kind of started to allude to, for even other people at home like myself, where I have little kids that one day, I would love for them to want to play golf or whatever. But based on your experience, it seems like it was such a good experience. Like, what was that balancing act of your dad pushing you really hard to try, but not getting to a point of like overbearing or an unhealthy type of pressure? What do you think that balancing act looked like, and why was it so well received and like healthy for you?
I think that it kind of started with just getting to go to the golf course a lot when I was a little kid and just enjoying being out there. Um, and then when it came time for me to be more competitive or to put more time in, it was easy because it was um, he had already kind of, whether he was trying to or not, just instilled kind of the love for the game in me, and that's what I'm trying to do with my kids. Like, they're not very good. They're 5 and 3, so I don't expect them to be very good, but just getting them to come out to the course and hit balls with me, or, you know, let them run around and be a little crazier than maybe I would like them to be at the golf course, just so that they enjoy being out there, and hopefully just cultivate that to appreciation for getting to be on the course, and or whatever sport it is, golf,
Right.
basketball,
Right.
or whatever. My oldest son is starting basketball this year too, and it's again, I'm not home very much, so I don't get to spend as much time with him as I would like, but when he goes out there, he just has a ton of fun. So if he stinks at basketball, but he's working hard, he's having a lot of fun. I don't really care, you know.
That's right.
And
Yep.
I think, yeah, my dad definitely had no expectations as far as my play, but he had super high expectations as far as my attitude. Uh, uh, and that was from a very young age. You know, like if I had a bad attitude, we were leaving the course, or we were not getting to shoot any more hoops, or whatever it was. So I think a lot of times people put the expectations in the wrong spot. Like performance is, you know, the main thing. It really isn't, especially when you're young, because
Yeah.
there were a lot of kids that were really good when I was 7 years old. That, never made it to high school. There were a lot of kids in high school that weren't very good that are playing the PGA Tour now. So
Yeah.
just being able to keep working and have a good attitude is super important.
Yeah. That's cool. That's awesome. I don't remember where I stumbled upon this, but there's an interview with Padraig Harrington where he talked about like getting his son and how to not like abuse or um, overwhelm your kids that are you're trying to introduce them to the game of golf. And he said so much of the similar things like just make it fun, make sure it stays fun. And the moment that it's not very fun, like leave, you know.
Right.
And I think that's such great advice. Like the other stuff we'll figure it out later. Like just let them enjoy it. And we want to thank this year's show partners. We are very fortunate to have two different brands that are partnering with our episodes this year in the season of Life Off the Links. First and foremost, we want to thank 3570 Golf Co. His mission is to provide you the best golf gear and inspire Midwest golf adventures. Because in a game that can only be played and never won, the journey is the reward. They're an amazing brand with incredible products. I'm wearing one of their polos right now. This is the Call, K-A-W polo. I'm real particular about my shirts, and this thing feels like I'm hardly wearing anything. It's so light, so breathable, amazing quality. We've got some of their head covers up here. Head covers. They've got amazing hats, as you can see. All sorts of things. You got to check them out. If you go to their website, 35x70golfco.com. That's 35x70golfco.com. You can check out their stuff. And if you go to get some gear, make sure to use our unique coupon code for the show, LOTL POD. That's LOTLPOD for a 10% discount on your order. That's 3570 Golf Co. We also want to thank Braun and Fox, who is with us from the very beginning. We love their products. They have incredible hats, as you can see in front of me. What I love is their Hold a Tee hat, where they have a nifty little place for a tee to go in there, so you're not digging through your pockets. Braun and Fox had the vision to combine the classic golf look with a new, innovative style while remaining affordable for all players. Braun represents the strength, and the Fox represents the intelligence that is needed to navigate one of the hardest games ever created. Make sure to check out braunandfox.com/lifeoffthelinks to get your specific discount for our show. You can use our coupon code as well, LOTL10, for a discount on braunandfox.com. Thank you so much to 3570 Golf Co. and Braun and Fox. Go check them out. Let's get back to the episode. But I love that idea. I remember Webb Simpson on our first season talked a lot about, especially as he got older and this has become his career, is he's going to at least know and be able to say that he was faithful with the gifts that God gave him, and he worked hard and he did everything he could, and the results will come however they land. And sounds very similar to kind of what you and your dad were talking about there too. So that's awesome. Okay, so you ended up playing at Oklahoma State, part of, obviously a very successful team. You talked a little bit about struggling and trying to get into the lineup, but again, probably every person on that team could be starting lineup of most other college teams in America. And so really talented team. And you also, I saw, got plugged into a ministry that's really popular with college golfers called College Golf Fellowship, which we've had Webb Simpson and Ben Crane both on our show who have been involved and talked a little bit about that in the past. So could you share just how you got plugged into that ministry and how did that play a part in your college experience and kind of the person that you became through those college years?
Yeah, so with College Golf Fellowship, I actually go way back before even I was in college when we were living in Fort Worth. Brad Payne, who's one of the guys that's been in College Golf Fellowship for a long time, he used to do the Bible studies for the TCU golf team at my house every
No way.
Tuesday night or whatever. So I kind of had, growing up, these were guys and I loved golf. I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and these guys were coming
Yeah.
over and opening up their Bibles, and that was again, my dad was my biggest role model for sure. But a lot of those guys, it was really cool, because they were cool, 18, 19, 20 year olds that were, spending their time, trying to work through their faith and you know grow as people. And so I think that had, even if I didn't really realize it at the time, it had a huge impact on me. And then kind of told you my parents were awesome. Through high school, they were, you know, everything that I needed, probably everything, definitely everything that I needed, because that's the way God works. But I think when I went off to college, I knew what I was supposed to do, but I don't know that I really had like my own faith, right? And it's kind of where you end up as you come to a crossroads. Like, okay, is this what my parents believe, or is this what I believe?
Yeah.
And my dad used to always say, God has no grandchildren, you know,
Hmm.
he only has
Wow.
children. So uh, when I went to Oklahoma State, I didn't really struggle with any of like the normal college, you know, shenanigans that go on, but I did kind of struggle with what is it that I believe. I know what the right thing to do is, but do I believe? Why do I believe that's the right thing? And Dragan Majors, who played golf at SMU, and is, I don't know if you know him, he's worked for CGF for a long time, but he's just an absolute goofball and just the exact kind of guy that you need college guys to be around, because he's super easy to talk to and super fun to be around. He really poured into me over those 4 years at Oklahoma State. And College Golf Fellowship does kind of these retreats, and different guys come and speak, and it was, just continually growing throughout college. And really, yeah, like I said, just my story is one of undeserved blessing and undeserved credits, for sure. And just the people that God brought into my life, whether it was Dragan or Brad Payne. And now that I'm out here, when you're playing in the New Jersey, there's not a whole lot of community. I mean, there is amongst the players, but just, you know, it's hard. Now that I'm out here, guys like Webb Simpson, Jonathan Kurt, I saw, Josh Peter kind of hooked us up. Just guys that you can go through life with, and guys that are a lot more mature and a lot smarter than I am. Um, it's just that whole kind of journey. And College Golf Fellowship isn't, the reason I'm saved. The Holy Spirit, that's the reason I'm saved. But just kind of, it's been a part of my life for, ever since I can remember. Um, yeah, it's just super special. And just those relationships are worth so much to me. And again, just
Yeah.
lucky to have them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, I think the thing that I kind of take from what you're saying is the importance of having somebody older in our life that can be a mentor, that can be pushing us towards, whether, for us and our stories, it's pushing us towards the Lord, it's pushing us towards growing closer in our walk with Jesus. But, it doesn't have to be that. Just somebody that's pouring into you, that's caring for you, that's pushing you towards good, that's helping you become a better person. And I think sometimes we can underestimate the importance of somebody in our life like that. And even for you, like somebody like these guys now that are not just mentors about your faith and your personal life, but also mentors in the game of golf and how to navigate the challenges of traveling and navigate the challenges of making cuts or missing cuts. And what a gift to have some men that are older than you, further along than you, that can still give you advice, even if it's not, College Golf Fellowship specific stuff, but life
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's great.
definitely. That's
Cool, man. Well, I'm excited to dive a little bit more into maybe more your family and what things are looking like now, and some things that you have just on your plate coming up. But before we jump into all that, want to transition to what we love to do on the show, called a segment called Quick Nine. some quick 9 holes into the day. You're trying to get it in before sundown. So we do 9 rapid fire questions that cover a kind of plethora of topics. And so I'll ask a question, I'll fire it at you. You just give me a quick answer back, and we'll shoot through these. Before we jump into that, though, if you're out there listening, reminder, if you love listening to the show, watching it, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, listen and follow us on podcasts, wherever you get those, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, wherever it is. It helps us get this out and continue to grow it and continue to hear more stories like Sam's. So please do that. And let's dive into quick 9 with Sam Stevens. All right. Hole number 1. What is your favorite thing about your family, Kelsey and the boys?
My favorite thing about my family is how supportive they are. My wife's unbelievable. Boys are crazy, but they're always calling me, telling me not to make any birdies and trying to make lots of birdies. So I love them. They get to come on the road a little bit with me, and yeah, just having them go through life with me, me with them, is just a blessing.
Love it. That's so cool. Hole number 2. What's a favorite holiday for you to celebrate?
Well, my birthday's on the 4th of July, so I'm going to have to say 4th of July is as good as it gets.
That's sweet. What a birthday right there. Fireworks. Every year, free fireworks. Way to go. That's awesome. That's great. All right, hole number 3. Was there a player that you looked up to as you were growing up, kind of aspired to be?
So the Tiger guy, but I wasn't really a Phil guy. I really love, this is kind of weird, I really love like Retief Houston and Ernie Els. I don't know if they just kind of had that quiet South African swag.
Yes, dude. I forget somebody, they called him like the big smooth or big easy. Like they just were just chill, smooth, like easy going. Their swings are freaking just so pure. Yeah, dude. Nothing weird about that. That's awesome. That's a great choice. All right. Well, kind of on that note, this is similar, but this is hole number 4. If you could create your dream foursome, and they could be, still living or have passed away, but who would be the other 3 players in your foursome?
All golfers?
It doesn't have to be.
Play with Retief. I'd probably enjoy playing with like Michael Jordan's too easy to say. But, like growing up in Dallas, I was a big Dirk fan. When I was a kid, we used to go to the games, so I doubt he plays much golf. That'd be interesting to watch a 7-foot person play golf.
Yeah, that'd be tough. He's a good pickleball player, though. He's a real good pickleball player.
I haven't seen that. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to see that. So that makes 3 of us. And then, who else? Kind of a Bobby Jones guy, honestly.
Yeah, I love that.
Used to watch, he had those like instructional videos. I don't know if you've ever seen those, How I Play Golf, that they came out with, like,
there's a lot of people that learned how to play off of those.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's that inspiring to play with those 3 guys. It'd be fun for me.
Wow. Hey, it's your foursome. That's great. All right. I love that. Hole 5. What's your favorite course you've ever played?
Oh, the first time I qualified for the U.S. Open, it was at Brookline in Boston. Probably experience, but also course with this.
Sure. Yeah. So, sweet. All right. Hole number 6, I believe. Do you have a favorite TV show or series that you like to watch?
Me and my wife just finished watching Monk, which is kind of an older show.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, classic.
Old souls. I'm really between being on the road 30 weeks a year and having 3 kids when I come home. We don't watch a whole lot of TV. It took us like 3 years to get through it, but we did finish it.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
TV.
That's great. All right, hole number 7. So this is a question I ask every guest, and if you've been listening or following, you know what I'm about to ask. If you're traveling on the road, let's say you're on a road trip though, you're going from one tournament to the next. You got to stop at a gas station and fill up and everything. What snack are you grabbing off the aisle?
I'll get crushed ice, large thing of Coke with crushed ice, not cute, and then probably a king size Reese's. Just, I mean, that can keep you going for hours.
You're not falling asleep at the wheel, no
No,
chance.
me and my caddy
Oh,
have had a number of long drives. A little Coke, a couple of Reese's, take you a long way.
good to go. Love it. All right, closing up. Hole number 8, getting close. This is a little bit kind of about your family. What's your favorite aspect about being a dad?
Man, it changes so much as they, get a little older. Like right now, my two boys are just they're getting way more into sports, and so that's been so fun for me because, kind of like I said, that was how things were with my dad. He was super involved, and I don't get to be home as much as my dad was, but just you know, when they're real young, they're so much fun. Watch them crawl and walk for the first time is incredible, crazy feeling. But watching, your son play a basketball game for the first time is also kind of a surreal feeling. So I'd say right now that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah,
Watching them play,
uh,
or having them come out to the course, whatever it is, it's just awesome feeling.
yeah, I'll get that. Our daughter just started soccer this year, and you're watching them out there playing. You're like, wait a second, what are we,
I'm an
what's
adult
happening?
man.
How do we have a kid that's out there like playing a sport right now?
Right.
And then there's like part of you that just like you have this, there's this, you can't even control it, but you just want them to go crush it out there. You're like, come on, like
Well,
you got this. And there's this pride. It's crazy. It's awesome. That's cool. All right, last hole number 9, finishing up. Uh, if you were to have done something other than golf as kind of a professional career, what would you choose to be your career?
can it be another sport?
Sure.
Uh,
Ben Crane said he'd be a pickleball player.
really?
Uh huh.
Okay, good for you. I would. I I loved basketball so much. I loved it so much that I tried out my freshman year and got cut, and then tried out my sophomore year and got cut. Tried out my junior year and got cut, and then tried out my senior year and got cut. So I was pushing for the basketball thing to work out. It just never did. But golly, even now I got some buddies back home. We'll go to the wire in the morning, and play 21 or whatever, pick up game, shoot hoops. It's just basketball's is awesome. So I'm
Were
sure
you a were you a point guard or were you like shooting guard? What were you?
I would say that I was not anything. I wasn't good enough to be anything. Um, I could shoot a little bit, but 6 foot, no hops, no lateral movement, just wasn't in the cards.
I love that you say that, but yet you just went for it every year and tried
Or
out. Like, I'm
yeah,
gonna give it a
yeah,
shot.
yeah, you never know. You never know when you're gonna peak.
That's so good. That's great. Well, thanks for doing a little quick 9 with us. Let's jump kind of back into a little bit more about your life, and would love to hit on more of kind of what life is like currently for you. You know, you said you are married, have your 3 boys. So I'm curious. Well, one, like, kind of brief story on where did you meet your wife? How did you guys first meet and, eventually get married?
Yeah. So we met at Oklahoma State. Um, the golf course that we play at is called Karsten Creek, and it's just outside Stillwater in Oklahoma. And they had like a restaurant that the golfers were allowed to eat at for free. So we ate lunch out there every day. She was a waitress at the golf course there.
Yeah, she was.
Um, so it's funny. My best friend Zach Boshu, who's playing the Corn Ferry Tour, his wife was also a waitress there. He was the best man at my wedding, and vice versa. So I tell people that shows you how social we were. Those were the only
Uh
girls
huh.
that we were confident enough to talk to. Were the girls that were forced to be with us every single day.
I'm sure you guys loved. I'm sure you guys were all about eating lunch there. Had no problem with that at all. So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So we met there and dated for our last few years of college and got married right away. So
Sweet. All right, so tell me a little bit now. Being a professional golfer, there's a lot. It's a toll on you guys as a family. I mean, Josh Teeter, like you said, he talked with us last season about some of the challenges of like maybe missing some big events in your kids' lives and those kinds of things. So, how has your wife and your boys like played a role in your success and ability to really go after this dream?
yeah, I mean, it definitely starts with my wife. Uh, Honestly, it starts more just with me and my wife and our faith and kind of being on the same page about, you know, what marriage is and what it looks like. And she has been, like I said earlier, just so supportive and, that doesn't mean that she loves everything that comes with this job, but, we kind of, uh, have those tough conversations when we need to about, schedule or, you know, when's a good time for them to come out so that, I'm not gone for, or not seeing them for, 2 months, but maybe only a week or two at a time. And like last week, they were in Las Vegas with me, which was, so much fun. Go down to the strip, see Coca-Cola World or whatever it is, Hershey World. Uh, so there's definitely a lot of blessings that come with this, line of work, but being gone a lot's hard. And, just having a wife that is a grinder. And again, I work hard in my golf, but she's working just as hard, if not harder, with
Hmm.
the kids at home. So
Yeah, gosh, that's so true.
it's easy to kind of forget, when I'm out here for whatever it is, 3, 4 weeks at a time, that diapers are being changed, messes are being made, drinks are being spilled, or whatever it is. You kind of forget about the day in, day out type of stuff that she has to deal with. So try to love on her when I'm home and pour into her as much as I can when I'm on the road. And, again, being in Wichita is great for us, close to family, a lot of help, and even more than that, she's got a lot of, kind of a lot of have guys out here like Jonathan Bird or all Teeter or whoever it is that you can just talk to, whether it's about golf or whether it's about life. She's got a lot of friends in Wichita that are, a couple girls that are a little older than her, but also just a lot of, moms that are kind of going through the same thing. And, so again, just super lucky to be in Wichita, super lucky to have some people around us that we do. And my wife she's a grinder. She
Hmm.
makes it work, and
Yeah,
I love it.
that's great, dude. I just love and I appreciate that perspective because that's what I think we as fans don't realize is there is a whole team and village behind you that is one, helping make this possible for you to pursue this dream or, any of these pro golfers. But two, especially with families, like there's a lot of work then sacrifice it takes. And it's not all just like rainbows and butterflies and,
Right.
beautiful things out there. There's some hard conversations that have to happen. And I appreciate, peeling back the curtain a little bit on that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
And like,
real.
I
It's
mean,
what real.
we're super lucky to, I'm super lucky to do what I do, and I don't, complain about it. But there's a lot of responsibility on both sides. With work and with family. Obviously, family comes first, and like you said, there's sometimes there's conversations that aren't fun, decisions that have to be made. A lot of that gets made a little easier if you play a little bit better, but you know,
Yeah.
what brings in harder conversations about other things. So you just kind of
Yeah.
take what you have and keep your head down. And just keep working hard.
Yeah. Well, and those are the same conversations, that other people were families are having, married couples are having of you're going on a business trip, you better be like it better be worth it. Don't be gone
Right.
just because you're gone. So yeah, and just cool to be able to have that relatability, and that's what I love about what I talk about with the show is kind of bring the human side of the game to our listeners and viewers, and uh, we're all doing this life thing together, just in different avenues, and so. Curious, as you were growing up, you talked about your family being such a positive influence on you as your parents and your sister and grandparents. were there any kind of real family principles that you had growing up that you and Kelsey really try to instill in your family and your boys now?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'd say that, my parents are pretty strict with us, just overall in parenting, with obedience and trying to get us to behave. But yeah, I would say there's more like it's a lot of subconscious stuff probably that I don't even realize that that's kind of what my dad drilled into me at a young age and expected of me. That again, being gone so much is hard for me. Not getting to really watch my kids, develop as humans and grow into, hopefully dropping young men. But yeah, I think that I tell people like I can't tell you exactly. I can't tell you what my dad didn't teach me or what my mom didn't teach me. Like everything I know is or most of what I know is from what they taught me growing up as a kid. So
Yeah.
most of the stuff I'm doing with my kids is probably just a reflection of what was done with me. I can't tell you what I'm doing that's different than what my parents are doing, other than I'm gone a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many things, and we live 5 minutes down the road from my parents. When Kelsey's having a hard day, my mom doesn't work anymore, so the boys stay the night at her house. They're getting a lot of the same lessons that I got when I was a kid, from my parents. So, uh, yeah,
That's
I
cool.
mean, there's too much to even say.
Yeah. That's really cool. Um, okay. There's some, I want to ask you a little bit more about kind of your personal approach to the game. Um, I've asked some other people on the show this question, but you're in a profession where success might be measured by how many wins you have, right? And so in a profession where 99% of the time is failure, how do you guys like keep going and keep like grinding and keep showing up in pursuit of success when it feels like so often you're failing to achieve the goal of winning the tournament?
It's a good question. I've been a little bit frustrated, obviously, lately with my results, not because I'm playing poorly, but just, haven't maybe finished as highly as I feel like I should be finishing. And those are conversations that, talk to my caddies ear off walking down the fairway after a bogey or whatever it is. But yeah, again, I think it comes back to kind of those things that I learned at an early age. And that was the results are important and you do play for good results, but you can't control the results. You can control your effort, you can control your attitude, and it's easy to kind of get sucked into, okay, I finished this on the FedEx Cup last year, and now it appears that I'm regressing because I'm lower. But I mean, how much control over that do I really have? Yeah, there's things that I could change and things that I need to address, but I've worked just as hard this year. I probably have a better attitude than I did last year, this year. And, it's like that in everything in life, it's a roller coaster that we're all on, kind of highs, whether it's personal or in your job or whatever it is, there's so much that's outside your control. And the more, that we try to control it, the more that we focus on, we always focus, or at least I do always focus when things are not going the way we want them to. And we're like kind of
Right.
zone in on that and hone in on
Yep.
that. And when things are going good, like I played, honestly didn't even play better last year, but I had more high finishes last year. It's like, oh yeah, golf's so easy, life's good, whatever. And now it's like, because I'm not playing as well, it's easy to kind of be like, oh, what should I change? You don't need to change
Mm-hmm.
anything. I mean, sometimes there's things you need to change, but if you're working hard, those things will be made apparent. Anyway, yeah, if you're working hard, you really don't need to chase anything. You just need to, you know, just keep pursuing that work ethic. And that's kind of what my dad always taught me. There were, growing up, like I said, I loved the game and it wasn't hard, but there came a point, when you're in high school and I'd rather be socializing with my friends or whatever, and he's like, no, we're going to go to the golf course and we're going to do this right. And we're going to take care of what we need to take care of. And then at the end of the day, it'll, the chips will fall, where they will. And I think that's the best approach, for me. It's just to go out there. Like today, I'm going to be jet lagged and really tired at 3 p.m., but I'm going to go out and I'm going to work on whatever it is that I'm going to work on. And might not show any fruit in that this week, but maybe a year down the road, I'll be better at whatever I'm working on today. And so that's kind of my approach. And I think it keeps you kind of looking forward, not necessarily looking at your results. And again, everyone gets stuck in this trap, but definitely professional golfers too, like looking what you've done recently. And you just keep working hard
Yes.
and things will kind of, yeah, like I said, they'll finish where they're supposed to.
Yeah, I feel like Scotty Scheffler has talked about that so well, and like all the success he's had recently, he still talks about like I just focus on doing my best today. Like I just like yeah, all the stuff I've done well is great and all that, but like I just want to try to do my best where I'm at, and I think it's the flip side is true too. Like you can't get so focused in on maybe a lack of success and not having the results you want, but focusing in on what's the opportunity I have before me today. How can I do the best with what I've got today, and then just if I can do that and I feel good about that, then I can
You
be
do what
okay
you
with
can.
it. And that's where, yeah, and I think that's where that mental side of the game is so crucial for you guys. Is that's a mental that's taxing, exhausting to continue to just kind of have to be like, okay, no, like we're gonna keep moving forward, we're gonna keep going after this. And I think it's just a fascinating part of the game that a lot of people don't necessarily understand or see. Um, this is kind of just a random kind of towards we'll kind of wrap things up here, but I'd love to know like what is it like for you? You have these dreams, you have these aspirations to play with the best in the world, and now you're doing it. Like you find yourself playing with some of these top golfers. What's that like to and do you have any like a fun story of you find yourself in the same group as this person or that person? You're like, what is life right now? Like, uh, what's that experience been like?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not really what I would have expected when I graduated from college. I wasn't playing super well, and I was going to try and play professionally, but I wasn't sure how long it was going to last. Or, I got married right away, kind of same thing my dad did. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just play for a little bit and then I'll go to work. Um, but I was going to work hard at my golf while I was doing it. And so
Yeah.
just that it's kind of come to this point where, and I'm out here. I'm in Japan right now, like playing a sweet course. It's like signing autographs. People are like, why do people want my autographs? And it's a crazy feeling. I think for me, it's been probably more rewarding. I've played with a lot of good players, not all the top players, but a handful of them. But honestly, getting to know guys better, like Webb Simpson, like Josh Peter, like Jonathan. And there's a bunch of other guys, Ben Martin, uh, and just getting to really know those guys and kind of, for me, the golf part of it is awesome. And when like a pairing comes out and I'm paired with someone that, has been out here longer than me or is more famous than me or is better at golf than me, like it's awesome. Like who doesn't want to play with those guys? But, getting to go to dinner and just, pour into or be poured into really. I'm not really doing the pouring and try to. Feel like I'm getting to get into that deal, but like getting to just go through life with these guys. They're really just yeah people that God's placed in my life, no doubt, and to kind of be living through that and be aware of it while it's happening, I think is something that I can do because I never expected to be here. Like if I expected to play 20 years on the tour, I probably wouldn't appreciate it as much. But like for me, I just am so happy to be out here. And, maybe I'll play out here for a long time, but maybe I won't. And so I've kind of always had that perspective of it's a blessing to be where I'm at right now when it comes to golf. And so when I get to hang out with those guys and be poured into and pour into them, it's been, uh, more than I could have hoped for, and a bigger blessing than I would have ever expected. You always think about making more money or winning big tournaments, and if that happens, that's great. I'm excited, but the relationships and just the guys um, that I've gotten to kind of go through this with are that's that's meant more to me than the golf. To be completely honest.
Yeah. Ah, no, that's awesome. I love that. Love that perspective a lot. And that's what's just been so cool about getting a chance to do this podcast is I mean, you kind of always have felt that watching the game and kind of have been able to meet a few people here and there, but now to have the opportunity to talk to I mean, a handful of guys and girls that are doing this and on the PGA Tour, and you kind of look at you guys in this like awe type of thing of like, gosh, these are PGA Tour players. This is amazing, and yet so down to earth and real and humble, and I just feel like that's a really cool, unique aspect of golf in particular. For some reason, the pro game that I don't necessarily feel is as apparent in other sports, but it feels like more often than not in the game of golf, you get just some really amazing, genuine people, and that's been cool to even get to experience on a small scale doing this show. And so that's really cool that's been like a big takeaway for you as well. All right, so kind of wrapping things up here, just curious kind of what this next season of life looks like for you. What are some things that you're really looking forward to coming up, and what are maybe some kind of goals that you're striving for here coming up?
Yeah, so we're kind of wrapping up the end of this season. There's I think 4 events left, including this week. So I'm good. Kind of kept my card for the following year for 2025, I guess. Um, so there's really no pressure. These last 4 events, I might not even play all 4 of them, but hopefully I can play well and kind of. If you can play well, if you can win, or have a couple high finishes, you can get in some events next year that I'm not currently in those elevated events. So we'll see how that all goes. Again, still don't have that much control over it. Hopefully I can play great, but we'll see. And then moving forward, next year will look a lot like it did this year for me. Just a lot of weeks on the road. And my oldest just started kindergarten, so that's going to be kind of a weird balancing act. We've had total freedom of whenever they want to come, they can come to an event. Now we're having to look at
Right.
when spring break is. Does that match up with a tournament that they want to come to or whatever it is? So
Yeah.
again, a great problem to have. Where are we going
Yeah.
to go for spring break?
Yeah.
that's
Right. Right.
that's that's a blessing, but it's just kind of different for us. And so, uh, yeah, I just kind of hope and pray that works out. Not necessarily that everyone's happy, but just that we kind of can get into a rhythm and kind of figure out what's going to be best for the family. And again, like I said, if I could play a little better, be home a little bit more, we could figure those things out a little easier. But otherwise, we're just going to keep plugging away and trying to figure out what's best for me and Kelsey, and then what's best for our family, and then what's best for my golf. So.
Sounds like you've got the priorities correctly aligned, my man. So that's good for you, man. It's been a joy to get to hear more about your story, and I know that I am going to be following you for these next this next season and this week. That at the time we're recording this, I'm not sure when this will get released, but you got the event here in Japan, and we'll be cheering you on, man. Get that first dub of the
Yeah,
career on the tour,
so
and
fun place to do it.
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So good luck to you on that. The last question that I end the show with all of our guests. So had a long period of my time in my career was with ministry with high school students, and I love to just ask the question from y'all's perspective. Talk about pouring into others. This is a chance to pour into the kind of next generation of high school golfers that are maybe aspiring to do this, to try to go for college golf and beyond. What would be some advice that you would give to aspiring high school golfers?
Yeah, I think if you're a good high school player, or, probably winning a lot or competing, at a high level compared to your peers quite a bit. And that just, the higher up you go, that kind of tapers off a little bit, so it's easy to kind of have that feeling of kind of that dejected feeling like, oh, I won, so much in high school, or I finished in the top five so much in high school. Now I'm in college. I can't even finish in the top five on my qualifying team. So I think that, again, kind of what we talked about, just the importance of staying committed, staying committed to a plan, or, everyone uses the word process. So I don't want to say it. My dad and I laugh about how many times people did that in an interview, but it really is important, and when I got to college and I couldn't make the lineup or was struggling to make the lineup, I was just like, okay, how do I make the lineup? And that just can't be your way. That'd be like going to a tournament and they're like, how do I make the cut? Or, how do I get this ball in the fairway? Like sometimes, like on a small scale, if you're in contention, that's a fine thought to have. Like, okay, I just need to get this ball on the green. But, you know, over a 4 or 5 year period, that's a really bad thought process to get into. How do I just serve? And you need to, take a bigger look at your game. And again, this is, for high school players, I think this is fine because they're mature enough to kind of start thinking about these kinds of things, but really start to look at your whole game and not just like, oh, I'm playing pretty good. I can beat the kids I'm playing with, or, trying to get into bigger events. But like, okay, how do I've got a 4 year period to really improve my game in college, or, maybe I'm a sophomore in high school. I've got 6 or 7 years to get really good. That's a long time if you're working towards the right thing and if you're working hard, and I didn't have that perspective in college. I was working hard, but I wasn't working towards the right thing. I was working towards not, shooting 80, trying to not hit it in the zone. It's a
Yeah.
bad thing when you think, um, and so when I look back on and I've talked about this with a lot of people, talked about it with my college coaches, it's like a lot of people have the ability to play super high level golf, but if you're not working towards the right thing, if you're not kind of pursuing excellence in every part of your game, it's just probably not going to work out for you unless you're just crazy talented. And there are people that are like that, but you probably already know if you're like that. Like if you don't
Yep.
know if you're like that, then you're probably not like that. So you need to if I were to give one piece of advice, I guess, sum this kind of rambling session up, have a plan, pursue the plan, and have the plan be like a positive plan. It's not like I need to keep from getting worse or keep from hitting it, but I need to become the best driver of the golf ball in the world. And I've got 6 years to do it. How do I do that? And then
Yeah.
obviously you break that down and you figure out ways to do it. But if you can have a positive plan, work hard, have a good attitude, it's not always going to achieve it, but you're going to get closer than you are where
Yeah.
you're
And
currently at.
and that goes back to your point earlier, in that at least you can be confident in knowing that you worked hard and you went all out for it, and you just let the results. It's not a matter of you didn't try hard enough. It's a matter of like, okay, it just wasn't in the cards. And I think that's a really good, and I love the idea of figure out what the kind of end goal is and then work the process, the plan back from that ultimate goal.
Yeah.
That's really,
Yeah.
really, really, really good advice. So
Don't get, kind of short sighted with that stuff because it's a long time. If
yeah,
college is a long time, a career in professional golf is a long thing, or it can
yeah,
be, hopefully it is. So you got to have you got to be forward thinking on that stuff and not get sucked into the short term. It's easy to do.
yeah.
I've done it a lot.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. Well, man, Sam, just appreciate you taking the time early morning where you are in Japan. Maybe now you're like, I could eat breakfast now.
Yeah.
uh, but thank you for being on the show with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Absolutely. And for all of you guys that have been watching or listening to the show, thank you for tuning in. This has been another episode of Life Off the Links. Don't forget, if you're enjoying everything that you're getting to experience, Please subscribe. Please like our video and our show. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. And keep helping us spread the word. We love getting to hear about all these tour players and caddies and other people in the game, getting to hear about their story and their lives off the links. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time on Life Off the Links.